Peace, viewers. Previously, I spoke about church planting. In this video, I will discuss where I am in regard to my faith and practice and potential future trajectories therein. I've made a handful of videos talking about my intent in becoming Episcopalian in real time over the past year. The first video was 5 reasons I'll become Anglican. To sum up what those reasons were, they were: number 1, the original purpose of the Reformation; number 2, sacramentology; number 3, apostolic succession; number 4, the Book of Common Prayer; and number 5, the musical heritage. The second video was talking about my specific denominational identity, or how I would phrase that. By the third video, I had become a confirmed Episcopalian and talked a bit about that. To reuse terms from the first 2 videos documenting my faith journey, of which this is the final one, my confirmation is my second profession of faith. I'll even be so bold as to say that my confirmation is the second most important event in my Christian faith, full stop, only after being baptized in May of 2005. The third video previous in this series was reviewed by who was at the time my priest, and her feedback was actually the inspiration of me cataloging my faith and practice up to this point. And it was the video after I had become a confirmed Episcopalian. That's the one that my priest had reviewed. It wasn't any of the videos in this series. But with that being said, the next part of this current video you could think of as a 4th video in that series, in addition to being the final video in my faith journey series. Between the most recent video and now, I had the opportunity to sit down and have a conversation with my bishop. To make the long story short, if I were to start some sort of conversational podcast or some sort of, content, think like Joe Rogan Experience or something like that, my bishop, at least my bishop at the time, would be one of the first 5 people who I would want to bring on. The first 15 minutes of our conversation was actually along the lines of what this 9-part video series has actually been about, if you could believe it. Now, at the 15-minute mark of our conversation, which was at least an hour or hour and a half, the bishop had given me a flyer for the EFM program, Education for Ministry, it's called. And it's a program for lay education from the Episcopal Seminary that often can be used as a stepping stone into seminary itself. Now, I had told this to my priest at the time about the conversation with the bishop, the EFM stuff, alongside, numerous other things that me and the bishop discussed. And the priest, she encouraged me to go into the EFM program, okay? Now, at time of filming, I am actively engaged in the registration process into EFM, and future videos that I make will almost certainly, reflect whatever it is that I'm going through in that program, all right? It could potentially, the EFM program, it could potentially affirm a call to ministry that was given originally in 2018 and that I talked about more in detail about 4 or 5 videos ago, which, if affirmed by the Episcopalians, would make a genuine call to ministry given through 3 different denominations, in addition to a number of ecumenical para-church faith organizations that I have found myself involved with throughout the years. Furthermore, something that is currently happening at the time of recording is that the specific parish I was a part of is merging with 4 others to form a whole new church, something that, once it was voted on, received unanimous support. This was something that I would joke about for those of you who are aware of Episcopal stereotypes. Also, starting around Lent, I took up praying the daily office, as well as having made audio readings of all 150 Psalms. Now, I had planned to try to do so with BCP and EOW canticles as well during the summer. However, given the fact that I had to move, God willing, I may be able to do that during the fall. But a lot of the music that I have been arranging, setting, and composing, ties into that general framework. And in all honesty, probably is going to until further notice. But that is a video for another day. There is an astronomical strengthening of your faith that happens when your devotional life is in a parallel lockstep with the week to week liturgical rhythms of your church service. So, using the morning and evening prayer from the daily office alongside with the liturgical rubrics, both which are within the Book of Common Prayer. And it's the 1979 version that the Episcopal Church uses, just so we're clear on that, okay? Now, I was using the devotional within the Book of Common Prayer prior to becoming an Episcopalian, but the grace therein is the only reason. Well, it's not the only reason, but it was a big on the ground reason for why I became Episcopalian in the first place. The daily office, as well as the liturgies used in my church, like I've said previously, are both part of the Book of Common Prayer, which has easily become my second favorite book, full stop, only behind the Bible itself. My next video may well be on the BCP, and the BCP itself would probably deserve its own video series. Now, this is a concise documentation of my faith and journey from my birth up to this point, which means all future videos that I talk about on my faith and journey will be either to clarify something that I've already discussed in this video series, or will discuss things that have yet to happen. To my viewers, peace.